Good evening for Roundtable. I'm Harold Hayes. One Saturday morning about 25 years ago, I happened to be walking down Peachtree Street in Atlanta through a very busy intersection. And I heard coming from behind a storefront window the sound of 100 kids tapping to Anchors Away. And I still remember this as just the happiest sound I've ever heard in my life. And we are delighted to comment on the fact tonight that tap dancing seems to be coming back. I read that it's become hot in London and Paris. They're sending people over to learn steps to take back and teach them there, and it's supposed to be coming back in this country as well. So tonight we are going to give you a Christmas present from Roundtable, and it's the best present I can think of, and that is to talk about tap dancing through this half hour with three absolute marvelous hoofers that are joining us. They are Gwen Verdon, the most dazzling dancer on Broadway or anywhere else, Mr. Honi, the unexcelled master of continuous rhythm, and Bunny Briggs, about whom Bill Robinson once said, "When I go, I want you to take my place." Well, as the only non-tapper in the group, let me start with a really dumb non-tapping question, and that is, why is it such a happy form of music? Because I'm sure that I'm not alone in this response to it. When you hear it and when you see it, it's separate from the blues or anything else, because it just simply seems that it's a happy thing to see. Now, is there an answer from any one of the three of you about this?
Well, I think because it's so rhythmic. And I also think it has a sense of humor.
Yes,
the actual sound that you make, you can do a rhythmic break and someone will go, oh, oh, because it's funny.
Yes.
It can really be funny.
Plus, it's not a stereotype sort of thing. It's a free and easy feeling. It's like contrary to ballet that has its own style, you must conform with the fingers, and there's no conformity as far as tap dancing is concerned.
It's also said that the shoulders and the head don't meet and the feet do all the work. Is that?
Not actually. I think it's a unison of the entire body. You know, the feet sort of tell the story, but your body underlines it. You know,
It sort of depends on what style you're dancing in, too.
Right, really, yes.
Well, Bunny Briggs, you said once about somebody that you watched dance, that man's feet never touched the floor.
Well, 2-1, I was talking about Baby Lawrence, because to me he was one of the greatest tap dancers that I have ever seen.
Yeah, probably the greatest.
And before I say anything else, thanks so much for having 3 tap dancers on your show.
Listen, my thanks goes
so
to
much.
you. It's
Thank you so
not for
much.
me. This is my fun.
But when I dance, I've got to have good music. To put myself into it, I've got to have good music. If I haven't got good music, I cannot give myself. So as soon as I walk into a club or have a club date, I listen for the music. The antennas are up. And if I hear good music, I said, I'm all right. And if I don't hear good music, I feel a little bad.
Ah.
And sometimes it shows in my dancing.
Well, let me ask just a little bit, too, about where it came from. Mr. Cole, I understand you taught a seminar at Yale about tap dancing.
Yes, last year.
Yeah. Well, what is the
A fellow
origin
named
of
Charles
this
Cook
peculiarly?
and myself did a seminar. One of my club members, Cook of Cook and Brown,
Uh-huh.
with a great comedy dance team.
Mhm.
And we did a seminar at Yale last year. And with great success, we had 36 kids who couldn't walk hardly, you know. And at the end of the seminar, we put on a show.
Did you teach them
And
how to
they were just fabulous.
Did
They
they
were
do?
they were fabulous,
Oh,
Bunny.
that's wonderful.
You know, we did all the customary things like the shim sham and the time steps and so forth and so on. But it was so rewarding to myself and Cookie, just unbelievable. I mean, white and black. It was not all black, although it was a black studies program.
Uh-huh.
But we had like almost half and half, white and black.
Where does it come from? It's an American form, am I correct?
It is the only true American dance form that we have.
Yeah.
Originally, I would say that it probably started from the Irish clog.
Yeah, the step dancing.
The clog and the step dancing and so forth and so on. But then we put the African sort of thing into it, and then it became the only American dance form that we have that's truly American, because the ballet is Russian or French or, whichever form that you accept.
But it's directly related to jazz.
It's directly related to a beat,
Right.
not necessarily jazz.
Right.
Yeah, it was before jazz.
Oh, it was.
Yes, sir.
So it would go back to what? Turn of
It
the
would
century?
go
or
back to
even greater?
slavery.
Uh-huh.
It would go back to slavery.
I think the rhythmic structures were used as a form of communication
Right.
during the slave
Is that right?
era, yes.
See, for example, I can say to Gwen and Bunny, I say, dot doody dee doom, dot doody dee doom, dot dip, dop, dee bop, dee doom, doom, doom. And they know exactly what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What did you just say?
That's called a half break, you know. Yop dee 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 dum, dot dee 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 dum, bop dee bop dee dum dee dum dum.
Now show them the breaks, please show them the breaks.
You know what's so amazing though is most dancers, if you go into any other field, if you've learned tap dancing, if you've really been a tap dancer and you go into any other form of dancing, you can learn it so quickly because no matter what you're doing, whether it's ballet or modern dance, it has a rhythmic structure, which doesn't mean just your feet going down. It's like the dynamics of the movement. But you can take da 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 doom da 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 doom da 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 and it can be ballet, it can be anything, and you remember that way.
Well, if such a statement were made, what would you answer back, Mr. Briggs?
Well, if you're doing the challenge and they went bop bop it up dop bop bop it up dop deep dop deep bop 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 bop, I might go bop 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 boom g bop bop jop dop 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 boom. But that's hum dancing. That's
Yeah.
hum dancing.
That's what kind?
I call it hum dancing.
Hum dancing.
That's what I call it.
Yeah.
It's hum
For example,
dancing.
the three of us could meet anywhere in the world at any given time in the world. And we say, okay, never seen each other. Never seen each other before in life, and say, okay, let's do the sham.
Well, you've given me a great idea.
Yeah.
Now, am I correct? The sham, shimmy is basic to the whole form.
Yes.
It is.
Any dancer can do that dance.
Yeah.
Any dancer can do it, but I don't think
Well,
it's
I don't
basic
think any
to the whole
dancer
form.
can do. I don't think ballet dancer. First of all, they
Oh, no,
turn
no,
their
no.
Well, I'm
feet
talking
out.
about tap
We're
dancing.
talking
You
about
don't-
tap dance.
Okay.
Ballet is all
Could the
together.
three of you do the sham, shimmy?
Of course,
Well, would you?
certainly.
Great.
Shall
I
we?
don't want to
Yeah.
do it.
Oh, come on.
Give us. Okay. Shall we sandwich you?
No, let me get on the end because I'm going to follow my guy
Okay.
who's done this.
Are we gonna
He's
do?
about
We're
10
gonna
years
do it
old.
with the holes, right?
Okay.
We'll do it with the holes. Shabop de doo dop dop and. One more time.
Well, I'm certain it's not obvious, but I can announce to the television world that it was never rehearsed by you all before. I mean, just came up here and communicated with each other.
It's different though. You know, you have different routines from. See, I'm California.
We're in New York.
I know.
Yeah.
And like the one main chorus that you talk about, or the breaks that you do, are different.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Well, California,
Of course,
not
I was
taking
with
anything
Willie.
away from you,
No, but I was
California
with
was
Willie.
always a little behind New York
Oh, exactly.
as far as dancing or, you
No,
know,
I know that.
the only thing that you were ahead on was pictures. But dancing, New York, the eastern coast, was really the coast as far as tap dance is concerned. Baltimore, Washington, Philadelphia, New York, you know.
And it
But
came
I
up-
think I learned a style that was Willie Covan's style. I mean, that was what I call real tap
Oh, yeah, there's
dancing.
no question. That was one,
You
that was
know.
Who was Willie Covan?
one of the
Willie-
great dancers. So,
Tap. I mean, soft shoe, buck and wing,
Yeah.
all the, you know.
Yeah.
And what do you call it? The slippy slides. I can't remember
like tip tap and toe, like
Yeah,
Raymond used to
yeah.
do, slides.
Slide.
that. Slide, yeah.
Well, tell me, if you will, about the soft shoe. This happens to be something I'm particularly concerned about. Did the soft shoe evolve out of the time step and so on, or how did that came? Because
No,
it's a
the
totally
soft
different
shoe-
rhythm, isn't
The
it?
soft shoe was a dance that was the pretty dance. I mean, this was the dance where I had all the class and the form, and you know, like dancers were known for being probably the best dressed performers in the business.
Right.
And the soft shoe was the thing where they could just show off their class, you know.
Yeah,
It was,
no
it was
sweat.
a flowing thing. Yeah, no sweat at
sweat.
all, you know. And
Did that come up in the 20s? Or was that earlier too?
I imagine it must have been earlier than the 20s.
Well, the best soft shoe dance I've ever seen was Honey Cole's and Charlie Atkins.
Is that right? That's supposed to have been a great class.
Well, I'll tell you why it was so great. Very seldom you can see a tap dancer dance slow. And they did a dance to Here I Go
Taking
Again.
a Chance on
Taking
Love.
a Chance on Love.
Yeah, After Waters
One of the
gave
prettiest
us the
dances
song.
I've ever seen.
Because that came from our
Well,
show.
we have one half of the team here and you. Would you substitute for the other half of the team and just give us
I
a
could
general
never
idea?
substitute for the other half of the team.
Well, then show us a little
Listen,
soft shoe in any case.
If she had been the other half of the team, we would have probably been lynched in Alabama.
No, I was a black act when I was 5.
And
With Willie Covan. It was Willie Covan and family. And Willie was very black. His wife was sort of a medium color with slightly red hair and freckles. And everybody wanted a job, and they all wanted either a kid in the act or a dog in the act because you could work easier that way. So I became the kid in the act. But I didn't know any difference about anything. We all just danced together.
No, that's
and
the
Willie
beautiful-
Covan and family.
That's the beautiful thing about show business. You really don't know the difference as far as black and white is concerned.
No.
You know, like
It's where democracy really
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
does. Oh, you find
Shall we
someone
do a
once in a
little?
while. Yeah.
We'll do a chorus,
Okay.
huh? We're gonna do a small chorus. We'll start with the old tradition with the yappity dop. Here we go. Bop bop dee doo dop dop and. Scissors. Scissors. This was the classic step in the song show.
I went the other way.
Now we're gone. And
Oh, yeah.
back and there you go.
Fabulous. Stay out there, Mr. Coles, and just show us while you're there an example of buck and wing, which is another form.
Oh,
that
you're
I'm-
putting a hurting on me now. I haven't done a wing in 40 years. And that's not my bag. My bag is really this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll show you. That's
Great.
kind of my thing.
Thank you.
White label and all.
Tell me, the form peaked probably in the 30s, I would imagine. When did it with vaudeville, or early 30s, late 20s, in that particular point in time when it could be seen
Late
in most
20s,
theaters?
early 30s, mid 40s.
That was the heyday.
Yeah.
That was the heyday.
Where'd it go then? What happened to it?
All of a sudden,
That's
And
a
I-
long story.
I
Well,
don't
let's
say
talk
this
about it.
disrespectfully. All of a sudden came a show called Oklahoma, and then the ballet, and the boys and the girls, and whichever was which, and that was the beginning of the decline of tap dancing.
Well, wouldn't it also be, Mr. Coles, and I'd be interested, Ms. Verdon, from your opinion about this, it had begun to evolve in the movies as well, hadn't it? So that it became more balletic in form. It wasn't a stare,
Well,
more of
Eleanor Powell and people, they brought in
They
a
brought
sort
in
of very
Fred Astaire,
balletic,
yes,
a
yeah.
very balletic soft shoe. Fred Astaire is, in my opinion, a much better dancer in terms of soft shoe than Eleanor Powell.
Mine too.
because she would keep hoofing and then throw in something that was supposed to look.
Turns and, you know, like the spins
yeah.
and the power.
But for real style,
Miller, too.
no. Well, Ann Miller, now she can really do some rhythmic things that are just terrific.
But Oklahoma was a turning point, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
Because
Oklahoma was also a turning point in terms of all. It's not really classical ballet.
No.
Agnes DeMille really evolved a kind of style of dancing for Broadway shows
Right.
that. If you're doing a Western, they don't often do tap dancing in a Western, but they wouldn't do ballet either, so she
No,
evolved
yeah.
a kind of style that was. And I think Jack Cole
Yes.
took the look of tap dancing and real African ethnic dancing, mixed the two together and came up with Wedding of the Solid Sender
Yes, yes.
in 1942, which again evolved another form of dance that is still being used in the theater.
well, dances like the steam heat routine and so on still draw from their roots draw from the roots of tap dancing, would they?
Yes, Bob Fosse is a tap dancer.
Yes.
Now, that was his
Yes,
training.
yes.
He had about 3 ballet classes, and that was it. He didn't like the way the tights fit, so he didn't go back again. But he was crazy about Fred Astaire. But then he really worked at learning to dance. But it was all tap dancing.
Yes.
Well, No Nanette, I would assume, was one of the comeback
Definitely.
landmarks in terms
Definitely.
of.
There's no question of that.
Except that Agnes DeMille did do a show, and there was a big ballet, and it was all tap dancing. And yes, wait, no, I'm trying to think. I suddenly it just occurred to me. It was not Oklahoma.
No, what's the one that Will
Yeah, yes, and they
James Barton
James Barton, right? And they did
Painted Wagon?
Paint Your Wagon.
But you see, Broadway, that type of dancing is altogether different from the type of dancing we were doing.
Right. Now, I wanted to get
Right.
back to the 30s and what was going on in Harlem, because that was a very fertile area for much of the dancing was going on. Both of you went through that whole
Yeah, we came
milieu.
through that era.
That's correct.
Well, tell us about what it was like.
Well, it was like we said originally, it was like a free and easy thing. There must have been 40 or 50 dance acts
Right.
around. You know, there was in front of the Lafayette Theater, which was it was comparative to the Palace downtown. When you played the
Right.
Lafayette, you had played the
You were
big
made.
house, you
You
know.
were made.
And there was a tree in front of the Lafayette Theater, and most of the dancers used to, in the summertime, be hanging out in front of the Lafayette, you know, coming to see what act was there and what they, you know. And it was called a Tree of Hope, because the guys would stand there under the tree and say, man, I hope I get a gig. I hope I get a gig this week. You know, I hope something comes along that I get a job this week. But then there was a room called the Hoofers Club, where all the dancers would congregate and exchange ideas, you know.
Right.
Everybody could do. That's why Gwen and Bunny and I could almost do anything together right now without any rehearsal or anything of that sort.
Oh, but I haven't done it in
Yeah.
so many years. I'd have to work at it for
Oh,
a
well,
while.
just take a minute. Once you know it, you can do it.
Yeah, of course.
At that time, we used to dance on the street.
That's correct.
That's why when you see what I call a rhythm dancer, he might do anything. You can't pin him down, because when he hits that floor, you don't know what he's going to do. Now, just before the show, when I told you about a step called punch step.
Yeah.
Now, mostly all rhythm dancers have what they call a punch step. Now, they're supposed to get applause with that punch step.
That's
They're
the hand
supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hand getter.
See, now, it don't always work out like that.
No.
You know, you do the step and nobody applauding the step that you're not even thinking about.
That's where you get
That's
the
where you
hand.
get your hand.
What is it true that in many of these instances the same step is never done the same way?
Well, that's up to the dancer. He might repeat.
Uh-huh.
It
Well,
might be
he-
one of them nights.
He mentioned Baby Lawrence before. Baby Lawrence, in my opinion, was probably the greatest tap dancer that I've ever known. He never danced the same way at any time.
Never.
You know, some nights you'd see him and this guy would be just, you couldn't believe what he was doing.
Right.
Next time you see him, he was just another tap dancer, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
now is
You
that...
have- it's like being at a baseball game. You know, you have your off times, and then you can hit it.
But it's like doing an improvisation.
That's
You
right.
don't really
Exactly.
have-
Right.
Exactly.
Well, now, that's also called scat dancing, as in scat singing, too, isn't it? Where
Well,
It started almost as a competitive thing, or just...
We never called it scat.
We never called it scat on the East Coast. You're still
then
talking California.
That's California. That's California and New Orleans with it.
But it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It amounts to the same
It's
thing.
doing an improvisation.
Yes.
And most
Yeah.
of all of the dances that we're talking about, we started in the street.
That's correct.
Well, now you had-
know, I discovered you could make money by dancing on street corners.
Well, I made money dancing.
And I went to Canada when I was about 4 or 5 years old. And I started dancing on corners, and people would throw money down on the
That's
street,
right.
and I'd pick it up and go buy what I wanted.
certainly.
Same here, same
Yeah.
here.
Now you'd have Broadway producers throwing down wads.
Well, that's the way most of us began, because there's never been a thing like going to a dancing school.
Oh, no.
Well, what
That
about,
was-
excuse me, what about these cutting sessions?
Cutting
This-
contest.
Yeah,
Well,
that's-
that was, people would come from all over if there was an act in town, they would come to the Hoofers Club. And then the cutting would begin. This guy would get up and he'd maybe dance a chorus. Another guy, he was saving his punch steps.
Yeah.
He's saving his punch steps now.
Yeah.
He'd just do a nice little easy chorus,
Yeah.
And then the other guy would come in and he'd do his chorus, and another guy would come in and do his chorus, and then this guy would really let out. He'd let out his thing.
It would keep your head
Yeah,
sort of
so-
together.
You're like this.
Was-
Oh, you're in a.
Yeah, but you go and watch
Yeah.
something like that. It's absolutely
There was no
extraordinary.
music, guys.
No music.
No,
There was a piano. We had a piano. As a matter of fact, we had a guy we nicknamed him Piano because that's the way he danced. He could hold on to the piano.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
But a fabulous wing dancer. He was a fabulous wing dancer, but learned dancing by holding on to the piano.
Was it clear ever who won in some of these
Never.
contests?
Never.
No, it wasn't like that.
Because everybody took out something.
Yeah,
Well, now I heard a story. A person I know is said to have paid Bill Robinson $1,000 to buy a step from him back in the
Who was
early
that?
30s. Happened to be my sister-in-law, who was a dancer out in Hollywood.
Yeah, well, that's
Because-
that's probably quite true.
And it was seen, the steps were owned by the dancers. Is
Well,
that
Bill
correct?
Robinson was a very jealous man as far as and he was a creator.
Mhm.
He created his routines, and he was very jealous of his routines. And as a result, if he'd come in the theater, and for example, I would be doing his routine, he might walk right down the middle of the aisle during the performance and say, "Stop! Don't do another damn step." He was that kind of a guy, and he was kind of an active man as far as belligerence and hurting you was concerned. Consequently, most people ducked away from doing Bill Robinson's routine.
It raises an
but
interesting...
everybody was doing it. We're doing the stair dance, and remember the Renaissance?
Certainly.
Well, I was
Excuse me, Mr. Baker.
go right ahead.
It raises an interesting question about how the form is kept alive. Can the steps be choreographed? Can they be written down?
Oh,
I mean, can
yes.
your routine be
They have the
recorded?
teachers' conventions. It's not common among blacks, but they have the teachers' conventions. And the teachers come in, and they have some sort of a way that they can write all of these things.
Yeah,
And
dance
name 'em.
notation, they
Yeah.
can do it, but,
But in your individual styles?
no,
No.
see, that's where it doesn't
That's
work.
where
That's
it
what's wrong
loses.
with dance notation. in
They can
terms
only
of
make the sound.
when your foot
the
goes
tap.
down and the rhythmic.
They write tick-tack-tickle, tickle, or whatever, but they can't they don't have the body action.
They
Or
haven't
the
got
attitude,
soul.
right.
No,
They
the
don't have-
attitude, no.
They haven't got
Yeah.
that soul.
Yeah.
Let's talk about soul just a second, Mr. Briggs. You have danced a lot with bands
Right.
through your whole career.
Right.
And I saw you a year ago, last summer, perhaps 2 years ago, with Duke Ellington. And as a matter of fact, I think I saw you about 10 years earlier at the Apollo with Duke Ellington one time.
I was there
Now,
with
how do you adapt yourself to dancing to orchestrated music? Tell us a little bit about dancing with Ellington, for example.
you. Well, when I started with Duke Ellington, I was dancing to a tune called Marie. Da, 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 which I love that song. But he came to me one day and said, "Bunny, I've got a number for you to dance by." So I said, "Well, all right, Duke, what is it?" And it was a tune called Paris Blues. And it was beautiful. Now, the first time I danced to it, I couldn't find my way. And after the second day, I had a whole routine to that. And he changed me, he just molded me into a dancer where it was like dancing on a cloud. And that's how the music influenced me. And that's why I miss him so much.
Well, he was such a great orchestrator. Did he ever make suggestions about how you would dance? When you...
Yes, he did. We did the sacred concert for Reverend Pike.
Where was that?
Bishop Pike. This was in San Francisco at Grace Cathedral. I think this studio showed it. I mean, Channel 13 showed it. And I said, where, Duke? He said, the cathedral in San Francisco. I said, well, I've never danced at a cathedral. How am I going to do? I can't be funny. I can't, try to get applause. I didn't know what to do. So he said, you can do it. And he showed me a couple of steps.
Himself?
Yes, he did. Believe it or not, he did. So I said, well, how am I going to finish it? And he showed me that step.
Well, now just show us just what Duke Ellington showed
Well,
you just very briefly.
you're going to hear it a little later.
Yeah, I know, but let's just see.
But, now, it's not going to look like much.
Yeah?
But at the end of the thing, the band goes, jump up, like that. And I would do something like this. This is Duke's step. Yeah.
Mr. Briggs, stay right where you are. What we want to hear now is the passage that you danced for the sacred music of Duke Ellington. It's called David Danced Before the Lord with All His Might, and we will consider this our Christmas benediction for Christmas night. So now let us hear you do that, if we may.
Music, please.
Amen. Merry Christmas to all of you, and thank you so much for coming tonight. It's absolutely wonderful show.
Joy to the world. Thank you for having me.
That's it for Roundtable tonight, and again, Merry Christmas. I'm Harold Hayes.